So I'm Jodi. I live in the northeast, so I'm in a little tiny seaside town, not too far from Middlesbrough. I first started my journey in, I guess, 2021. After I had my second baby. I have two children who are now, well, my eldest will be 6 tomorrow, and my youngest is coming up 4. So after I had my second baby, I just had a lovely birth experience and was just full of drive and passion and probably oxytocin. And I just wanted to like scream from the rooftops about how great pregnancy and birth can be when you're supported by the right people. So I did a bit of self-learning, did a bit of exploring, and then came across Nurturing Birth on Instagram, I believe. I did the online course in, I think it was in 2022. Sort of headed out into the big wide world, I guess. Yeah, I'm in the northeast. I've got 2 little ones, and I'm a doula alongside. I work part-time as a hairstylist still as well, so I do 2 days a week doing that, and I just feel like I have a really nice, I was just saying to Sarah before you came on, I feel like I've got a really nice life balance at the moment, and it's gone from feeling like how can I be a doula, how can I fit that in, to actually a few months ago a bit of overload and a bit of, okay, this is a lot, and a bit of a juggle, to now a nice balance, which I feel like is the goal.
That is so good. Yeah, you were just saying to me beforehand that you had so much work coming in. You're a bit like, oh, hang on a minute, but you needed to put some boundaries in around that, which you've done, and it's got to work, for you first, hasn't it? So I'm glad that I'm glad that you had so much work coming in that you were at that point, but so good that you were then able to, sort of step back and think, hang on a minute, yeah, I need to organise this a little bit better and make it work for you. So that's brilliant. Yeah. Did you have an intention beforehand to go particularly into births or postnatal? What have you done? Have you done both? Is there a particular sort of area that you do more of?
I focused initially on antenatal sort of birth prep, a bit of hypnobirthing. I did my hypnobirthing instructor training, and I found there was a lot of interest for that side of things. And I found that fitted in around my schedule a lot, because I wasn't initially on call for births, and obviously that uncertainty. But then as it happened, I did end up attending a few births. Again, boundaries were huge. I was just really honest with clients about my availability. I think I set off at first wanting to be available at all times, but actually with 2 young children and another job, that wasn't practical for me, which was a bit of a hiccup at one point. And I just learned that, like we just said, you can't juggle it all. And actually, if you're honest with clients about, I'm going to be available at this X amount of time, and if that doesn't work for you, then we can't work together.
Yeah.
That was game changing for me. So last year I attended a handful of births, which was perfect for me, my schedule. And then towards the end of last year, I started postnatal care too, which I'd always wanted to do from the very start, from the course, but with my little ones, it didn't fit in. But now my youngest is at school. I'm free as a bird on a morning now, which is amazing. And I find that mornings work really well for postnatal care as well. People have been through the night. It's that daylight of I've got my baby here and I could do with a helping hand. And mornings have been really lovely to have that time with clients. So I've been doing a bit of everything. I'm also doing some work for a local charity. So I run a hypnobirthing and antenatal birth prep session through a charity, which are funded, which means I get paid for my services. However, it's free and accessible to all the service users, which in my area it's quite a deprived area financially. So we've a huge spectrum of people in the area, as most places, but there is a lot of poverty in the local area. So having this accessible course, which is open to everyone, and it's also sort of being endorsed by the local midwives as well, it's just been fantastic because it's opened the doors to everyone. Before doing private work, I guess, more of a more privileged clientele. But now it's opened the doors to more and more people, which is fantastic.
So many people ask us when they come and do the training is like, how can I, I want to be a doula and I want to earn a living, but also I don't want to make myself inaccessible to, everybody. And how can I do that? And there are so many different ways to do that, exactly like you've done. There's funding out there. There are some amazing charities that a lot of our doulas support. So Happy Baby Community, although that is sort of London based, but there are other pockets around the country of things like that where people can do postnatal and birth support and get some payment for it. So there are so many ways of doing it, but fundamentally what I'm hearing from you, Jodi, is that you've looked after yourself first, you've put your boundaries in place, you've got these things in place, and then you are in a position where you can work and give back as well.
I really struggled with at the beginning is that valuing yourself. I know I feel like we talked a lot about it on the course itself, but that like imposter syndrome and that you just want to put yourself out there, and because it's such a passionate, personal thing, it's almost, you feel like you want to give it away in a way. However, I really did learn that the hard way. It's a learning curve. But then on the flip side, what has surprised me is the amount of work there is available, and the amount of people who do want to pay and who don't hold back and really do value the work. And that was really enlightening in the first stages as well, because I think there is that fear of, will it work? I remember at the beginning feeling like, who's going to book me and why, and what's my niche and who are my people? And I felt a bit lost at the start. And I mean, word of mouth is huge. And I guess the more work you do, the more known you become.
How did you find your experience of getting yourself out there in the community then? So you say, word of mouth really helps. Where did you start sort of getting yourself out there, and how did you sort of network and things like that?
I think it came in waves, and I think it still continues to be honest, of where I am mentally and personally, of what drive I've got. And like I say, I'm doing life as well is sometimes hard, isn't it? But I find that especially in the start, I'd have a big drive of, okay, I'm gonna do this. I want to put clients in. Where can I be? So I was showing up to like family hubs. So in every little town and village, we have a council run family hub. So I would advertise myself there. I was making my own business cards, posters. Social media obviously is huge. Then I did infant feeding peer support training, and that led me on to networking through feeding community groups.
Yeah.
I attend my hospital's MNVP. It was really good to be part of that side of things. Personally, for me, it's been mostly social media and word of mouth. The community that I'm in, it's a lot of everyone knows everyone sort of thing. So passing around that way has been good. And I actually, like I say now, our local midwifery team are promoting the charity funded services. So that's been a huge drive of getting myself out there massively.
That's amazing. And it sounds like you've been really proactive, which is good. And like you say, it doesn't take that long to build up a reputation and for people to hear about you, and friends tell their friends when they get pregnant, and it snowballs. So that's really good. You've done a really good job of that. And you also do your events as well. So I saw that you put on an event recently. That was amazing. So tell us about that.
So there's a lovely, really aesthetically pleasing, beautiful little coffee shop near us. And I was just there with my husband one morning, child-free, which was amazing. I just had this, like, you have a little epiphany. I was a bit like, ooh, this could be a really nice setting for some sort of group. And I don't know the staff at the place whatsoever, but like I said, my drive and my motivation seems to come in waves.
Yeah, I hear you.
and I feel like this was a big wave day, and I was a bit like, yeah, I can do that. So I just trotted over to the counter and asked to speak to the owner, and I said, oh, what about if I did a little little pregnancy social sort of get together thing. And she's like, okay, what is that something you've done before? And I said, no. And she said, oh, what have you got in mind? I said, I don't know. Just leave it with me. And I just put the feelers out on like the local Facebook page. And then there was quite a lot of interest. First, I led it as more of a social than a formal thing. And I think people like to have that sort of feeling of getting together and in pregnancy. So I sold, it's quite a small coffee shop. So I sold, I think it was 18 tickets, lots of little prompts on the tables for getting people speaking. So there would be really simple things like baby name ideas. And then there would be deeper thing, how are you feeling about birth? What do we know about oxytocin? And that really worked as conversation starters. And what we ended up with was a really nice atmosphere, loads of people in the community mingling and talking and bonding over their pregnancies. And also obviously a lot of exposure for me, which was fantastic because it led to people booking privately, which was really nice. And so that was my first one in March, and I'm gonna hopefully do another one in the summer. It was a good money maker. It just left me feeling just full of warmth and positivity. Yeah. It was lovely. And like I say, it was brilliant promotion. I made sure everyone bought cake because I thought the more money the cafe make, the more likely they would have me back. So
yeah. So did you have to pay for that space, or did they just?
Yeah, I paid an hourly rate, right. But with the ticket sales, it was minimal really. So
and that is such an easy thing to do. And at the end of the day, it's just getting your name out there, and and that's so important, so good to do, because you are the face of your business. People actually then have met you, and they know that you're not some scary ogre, and you're approachable and knowledgeable, and that's brilliant. So well done. That's really proactive, and I love it.
We know we live in a bit of an Instagram world, don't we? And I think people, if people are carving out time in their evening to come to this pretty place, they're going to post about it, and it's going to get people talking.
So something else I wanted to ask you about was you did an online course with us. So how did you find that? What were your sort of expectations? Do you remember? I know it's a few years ago now.
I think I didn't know what to expect. I think, like you say, I think I was a bit not apprehensive, but nervous maybe of what it was going to look like, and I think I maybe assumed that it was going to be very sort of classroom-esque, sort of, sit down and listen and take notes. But I remember coming away, I did the evening sessions, and I remember sort of switching off the laptop at 10 o'clock on a night and just thinking, oh my God, it's like, it was almost like therapy. It was such a warm environment, and everyone clicked really well. We had much deeper conversations than I expected. It was a whole journey rather than just a to-do list and a learning thing. It was how much me work there was, as in like we dived into a lot of unpacking our own birth experiences and that type of thing. It was surprising to me how much I got personally from it, rather than like I say, like being a structured learning thing. It formed a nice community. Like you say, we weren't together as such. I think in our group we had Amy was in Dubai, and Anna was in somewhere in Portugal, I believe. And then there was Fanula was in Ireland, and then I was here. So we were sort of worlds apart, but we stayed in touch. The four of us stayed in touch for quite a while afterwards. And Amy and I, who's in Dubai still, are still in touch now. So I think we still sort of had that sense of gathering, being together. It really worked. It worked really well, and it worked like personally for me. I couldn't have gone to an in-person course. I think at the time my youngest will have been 1. So I sort of jumped at the chance. Obviously I was working as well. I was in my other job. So personally for me, it fit in perfectly, which is why I chose the online course. I initially, before doing the course, like I said, I'd done like a bit of self-learning, and I'd put the feelers out a little bit on my own and didn't really know what pathway I was going down. And I remember after the course, I sort of flipped everything on its head. I felt I'd learned so much that I was like, oh, okay, I've had it all wrong in my head what I wanted to do. this is how I want to be a doula, and this is how it's going to work. And yeah, I remember having like a full flip, being like, oh, okay, some clarification of what, I feel, and I came out of it feeling so much more confident.
That's really good. And it's so nice that you can, that's the thing with being self-employed, is you can do that. You can decide, you get to call the shots, don't you? You can decide exactly how you work, when you work, who you work for, what you want to do, how much do you want to charge for it, all those things. Yeah. And it often evolves for people over time. So they start off doing a little bit and the odd birth and perhaps postnatal, like you were saying, you know, when their little ones are at school and what have you. And then, and it was exactly the same for me. I sort of did birth at the beginning. Postnatal was a bit more challenging when my little ones were young, and then as they got older and they were in school full time, I did more, you know, and I did it always between sort of 10 and 2. And then as they got older, you know, even more, and they didn't need me after school and stuff, or they had different places to go. And when our circumstances changed at home, I started doing evening stuff and doing like bedtime, like the tricky time for people. And I know lots of doulas will do overnight work, or you know, just one day a week because that's what suits them, or whatever. You know, it's, you just make it as your own, and it can change and grow and evolve. And also the other great thing is, if you don't want to work in the summer holidays, or you don't want to work over Christmas, you say, I'm not doing it. Yeah. Getting a doula sometimes in August is like finding hen's teeth.